Hello. My friend Steph requested a introductory juggling lesson via video. And it can be tricky knowing where to start. You know, if you and I were here, we could figure something out. Something that we both had a good time doing, we're both learning. But since I don't know who you are, where you are in the world watching this, it's tricky to figure out how to meet you where you're at. I gotta give you some good ideas and tips, but will you want to do them? Will you do them? I mean, I can't make you do them. But if I were here, maybe I could inspire you to want to do them, or play with you in a way that might be fun, where you're learning, and I'm learning, and then we're learning together. Because juggling on one's own, it can be tricky when you're just starting off. You're gonna have a pretty steep learning curve getting to somewhere where you're feeling satisfied, and then more learning curve after that, and it's something that's really fun to be doing with people. That's why a lot of juggling is done in juggling clubs, where people are sharing and juggling together and passing and working on stuff. Anyway, preamble. So, basic juggling lesson. There's no wrong way to juggle. If you watched any of the videos that I've done, you'll see that I drop a lot. I don't practice a whole lot, so I suck, but I can do a few things. There's no wrong way to juggle, but I can show you where I started, and maybe you'll want to start there too. Talk about some good foundations and some ideas about juggling. So, the first pattern that I learned with balls was this. This pattern here, I usually call the regular cascade, or the basic 3-ball cascade, or just the cascade. If I were to run it in reverse, we'd call that the reverse cascade. Like this. You might not really notice the difference. You're like, something's different, but I don't know what, and I can explain it. So the basic cascade, just watch one ball. They're all white, but pick one. This one. And you'll see that it's going from right hand to left hand to right hand to left hand. And if you picked a different ball, you'd see they're all doing the same thing. The pattern is just right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. I often compare juggling to a slow jog, because when you're jogging, it's about the same pace. Right, left, left. You have to throw your feet in the proper location, and you have to catch your whole body weight. Jogging is probably a lot harder than juggling, but we learn it sort of unconsciously as kids, just watching other people, and because we want to be able to move our bodies around fast and get places. I bet if most people juggled, little kids would pick it up too. And then they'd have to learn something else really hard to get the benefits that I've gotten from juggling, because a lot of what I've gotten from juggling is learning how to intentionally learn something and consciously learn something and break down my subconscious habits and patterns and focus on a clear and specific goal. So with one ball, your clear and specific goal looks something like this. This is what you would do if you were a left-handy. You would start throwing with your right hand. If you're a righty, I suggest starting with your left hand. You want to train your non-dominant hand. And just that one side, because you want to get that one throw really good. But even this might be too much. I haven't explained what I'm trying to do, and that's pretty complicated. You might just want to start with your non-dominant hand, throwing the ball straight up into the air, like this. And even that, I didn't explain what I'm trying to do. You see, in juggling, like many things in life, it's good if you have a clear idea of what it is you're trying to accomplish, so you can give yourself feedback. Sometimes I juggle without that clear idea, and I improvise, and that's good too. But it's good to know what you're going for. So, clear idea. I want to throw the ball from here, have it go, let's say, this high, and I want it to land the same spot that I threw it. Something like that. Now, if you're starting, and you've never done this before, you'll find out very quickly that you might not have the skill to be able to throw a ball straight into the air and have it land right back where it came from. It's non-trivial, as What's his name? I'm blanking on the guy's name. There's a guy who runs Super Mario Brothers. He's the world record holder. Darbian. Darbian talks about tricks in video games being trivial or non-trivial. Well, throwing the ball straight up into the air and catching it right where it landed is non-trivial. You can imagine there's a string going straight up on the ball, or like a wire, like it was on a track. When I'm throwing it, I'm lifting it right on that track. And just that motion of moving your arms so the ball goes straight up is complex. Just like walking is complex. You have to coordinate bicep, forearm, your hand, and you're not gonna think about it when you're doing it. You see it, and you can practice that in slow motion. Just doing this in slow motion is non-trivial. And this is where I'm talking about stuff that you might not want to do. It's like these are exercises I've done. If you want to be a juggler, you might want to do some of these things. Lifting it up this invisible line. You see how much I have to move in order to keep the ball on this axis, right? I have to move my whole body. But it's like in isolation. There's a lot of stuff you could do even without a ball. This is kind of just like miming stuff. It's just feeling. You could go up to a wall and just feel the way, just feel your body internally, how it feels when your hand is staying in a plane. It's not something most people would think to do. Just feel the sensations in their shoulder, in their arm, in their hand, in their back, their legs. Keeping your balance as you're just trying to keep your hand in this plane. But I mean, if you're going to do miming, you got to be able to stay in that isolation in a plane. Right? And that kind of stuff you get when you're juggling too, because you have to keep your hands in this plane. So, that's what I'm talking about when I say I don't know where to begin. Most people would have you be throwing balls around by now. If you were here with me, we'd start off by throwing balls. We'd just throw a ball back and forth. Just throw a ball back and forth, you to me. I would give you feedback on your throws, and soon we'd be juggling 5 together and 6 together, and that'd be fun. But you're not here. You're there. This video is still recording. I haven't done a whole lot of video on this device, so this is kind of an experiment. These, if you're interested in picking some up, are G-balls. They're excellent, excellent juggling balls. I make really, really inexpensive juggling balls out of tennis balls, rice, and balloons. I'm not juggling those now because I like the beanbags. They're really fun for improvisational play and you feel really good in the hand. I should do some more practice with my balls. So, if you were to get this really well with this hand, you would try it with this hand and get that really well. Then your basic throw, starting with your non-dominant hand, on a righty, is you're doing that same lift, but just slightly towards this side. And you want it to land here, so you got your target. I got my target, and I want it to land there. And if you miss, you want to stop, try and remember why you missed. Because there's a reason. You did it. You went like this instead of like this. And then you want to visualize fixing it. Better. And if this sounds really boring, I'm sorry. If you really pay attention to the little details, it'll be very interesting. And if you want to get better, I suggest figuring out a way to fall in love with it. Because even when I'm trying to get better, I need to return to one ball when I'm trying to learn how to juggle 3 in one hand. Or if I'm trying to learn how to juggle 7, I need to go back to one ball and drill that throw. Because if I get it wrong, the pattern's going to fall apart. And that's for very patterns I understand a whole lot. And the improvisation comes to realizing there are no rules. And you learn something and then you play around with it. And be willing to make mistakes, and then if you want to get really good with that, you gotta figure out ways to practice amidst a sort of chaos. Practicing different aspects of all the things. Anyway, I'm not a very good juggler, But I do enjoy sharing what I know with people. And maybe this video doesn't do it for you. Maybe someday I can teach you a thing or two about juggling. Yeah, alright.